hard on your game, though, right? It must mean something to come out and have a game like this.
Yeah, I guess. But I work hard so we can win. You can score 20, 30, whatever, but if that doesn't help your team win, what's the point, Vinny?
Welcome. My name is Kiante Blue, and if you're unfamiliar, thanks to Wassup Sal and 2K, I've been able to share my NBA story for the past 2 seasons. And entering the year 3, I have a lot of expectations placed on my shoulders. After battling through being benched, the G League, being traded, and ultimately costing my team a chance at the finals, it brings us here. So without further ado, make sure you grab a snack, something to drink, and at the end, hope you understand me better. May 31st, 2025. Date I'll never forget. I would step out of bounds in the Western Conference Finals and cost my team a chance at the NBA Finals. And once again, I let the city of New Orleans down in the playoffs, but this time, there was no one else to blame but me. Walking off the court, felt like my world was caving in. I had nowhere to turn. So I faced the music. I walked up to the podium after the game, put on my best suit, and addressed the media. I had to act like I didn't just do what I just did in front of millions of people. I had to put on my best poker face and answer these questions as best as possible, because anything I say can and will be used against me in the court of the NBA. Felt like I was on trial. Felt like I was talking in front of a jury, trying to convince them that I'm innocent. Meanwhile, the whole world just saw me step out of bounds and complete the blunder on national television. So the best thing I could do is take accountability, admit my mistake. I got selfish. In the moment, I got caught up. I wanted to be the hero so bad, I became the villain. Ultimately, I would not let this moment define my NBA career. I owe it to the city of New Orleans, my teammates, and the NBA fans alike to bounce back from this. But for right now, you guys can put it on me, and I'll carry it into the offseason. After what felt like hours of answering questions, I finally got up, took one last look, said goodbye to the media as I prepared for the offseason. No matter how many questions I just answered on that podium, the fans were going to have questions about my decision all offseason. While getting Ubered on the way home, my driver decided to listen to an NBA podcast.
Bro, Kiante Blue? More like Kiante blew it. No, did he? I don't even know why we're talking about, dude. He was never one of those ones. All right, fair. He's not a bust. But he's nothing better than a role player. Let's be honest with ourselves. I respect you. The city of New Orleans doesn't love you. And the Pelicans organization needs to be traded you for a 2027 second round pick, because that's what you're valued at. You are nothing. Hey, looking down from heaven disgusted. It should have been you.
The offseason began with the news that head coach Willie Green was fired. With that news breaking, I immediately hit the gym and didn't waste any time. Shoot, at this rate, anybody could be expendable. Safe to say, it ain't safe. In this offseason, I'm working on my craft, in particular, my outside shot. And listen, I'm entering year 3, which means I'm up for a contract extension. The Pelicans want to go through with it. And all the top rookies in our class probably gonna get the max. Needless to say, Wemby's probably gonna get the Supermax rookie extension from the Spurs. And while I'm not a 7'5" unicorn, I gotta prove to New Orleans that I'm worth it. Less than a couple weeks after firing Coach Willie Green, the Pelicans found our new head coach, former Rockets assistant and NBA All-Star Corey Wells. And while I don't know anything about him, guess I'll find out soon enough. The next stop on my off-season tour takes me to LA. Last season, I got to play with Tavion before his big day. This time, I'm playing with Lil T, aka Trevor Cole, before he gets settled into college. He committed to UCLA from Chicago, which shook the neighborhood up. On his arrival, he met this kid named Brent. I don't know too much about him right now, but apparently, he's the starting guard out there in UCLA. That don't matter to me. I put up with Alonzo Kilpatrick, aka Rook. He not a rookie no more, I guess. But for tonight, it's the NBA players, it's the college players. I haven't played with Trevor since he was 15 years old and I was 18, so I know his game done changed. He's always been athletic just like his brother, but his vision was slightly better. What I thought was a friends and family trip quickly turned into a business trip as Trevor and Brent came out smoking. So I tried to hit him with my patented post fadeaway. That ain't work. And immediately following, the unexpected happened. Lil T threw a lob up in the air. What goes up must come down. That man Brent boomed all over Zoe, and I was in shock. I just witnessed a murder, a body bag, and I didn't do nothing to stop it. Once again, I thought this was all fun and games. These kids were not playing with us. They got serious quick. Brent hit Zoe with a crazy Euro step in transition, so I felt like I had to come back on my end and assert my dominance. Remind them who's the real NBA player, who's still playing for NIL deals. Things got serious as I hit my post fadeaway turnaround. My boy Zoe got up for a poster revenge on top of Brent. With no shirt on, he flexed on him. But I have to admit, we was getting outplayed. This kid Brent had me on the ISO. While I didn't get hit by any of the moves, I got impacted by the poster. This man boomed right on top of my head. I jumped and got body bagged. And to make matters worse, he walked through me like I wasn't even there. At that moment, he had the presence of a pro. And I couldn't believe it. At the end of the game, my boy Trevor found Brent in transition for the three, and he hit it. This man had a three, a rim game, and some handles. And in that moment, I knew one thing for certain. I had to make sure I check out a UCLA game this season. Before I know it, Trevor and Brent gonna be in the league. With the hiring of new head coach Corey Wells, management gave him my number, and he immediately texted me while I was out of UCLA. Told me when I get back in town, slide to his crib, and he got an indoor basketball court. And my first time seeing him, he insisted that we run ones. I don't know anything about his backstory or what he did for a living. All I know is, this old dude said run ones, and I said bet. So I took it to him off the rip, thinking it was finna be sweet. And as soon as he got the ball in his hands, I knew something was up. Bucket. I started to scratch my head a little bit. I thought I was gonna take it easy on his old head. He started serving me up from the mid-range. Then it clicked in my head. This dude must be a former player, ain't it? But why does he want to run ones with me? These are all thoughts that floated through my head as this man was hitting me with all kind of pivots, pump fakes, and mid-range buckets. And the disrespect came when he sagged off my three-point shot. This man read my scouting report. Imagine your head coach disrespecting you so much by leaving you wide open from three and getting the ball and torching you. Then I noticed it. This man was wearing a championship ring on his finger. It looked like the Boston Celtics from 2008. I had so many questions floating through my head. Meanwhile, I started realizing I was getting dropped off. So I started getting physical with him. I knew he couldn't handle me if I was really playing my hardest. So I got the ball back, and as crazy as it might sound, I started cooking my head coach. I hit him with all kind of mid-range arsenal. Hey, listen, coach, you ain't the only one that know how to get to the basket and pull up from mid-range. I'm 6'9". He looked like he all about 6'3". So I just used my size and my age to get through to him. Listen, I refused to start the offseason 0-2. I already lost to my little bro Trevor. I'm not finna lose to my OG coach, who looked like he all of about 48. The receded hairline and the beard. So to cap off the ones, I hit him with my patented post fadeaway, cash. And I felt good. I don't know if I was supposed to feel good about it, but I did. Then it hit me. This man really challenged me to ones. First meetup as my head coach? I actually kind of like that. Then he told me, youngster, Google me. I was like that. But now I'm here to teach. I want you to become more of a scorer this season. So I wanted to see where your bag was at, where I can add to it. And after that moment, me and coach became increasingly tight throughout the offseason. So much so that I was at his crib almost every day, picking up game, learning knowledge. There was even nights I slept over. Listen, I'm still in my rookie apartment. So being at coach's big crib in the NO felt like heaven. And he had an indoor gym, so I was freeloaded. Nonetheless, coach was giving me game about the NBA life. He told me he played 10 years against the NBA's best. And he had longevity because he knew how to score without burning out his body. And that's exactly what he wanted me to learn how to do. So all the dunking and layups are cool, but if I want to have a long-lasting career, I got to develop a jump shot. At the start of training camp, Coach had a genius idea. He invited 8 of us out to his crib. We decided to run 5s, but with a little twist. Coach and the assistant coach were drafted 4 players. And Coach Wells, he ain't picked me up. Of course, me and him had a little rivalry going. He had Zach, Zion, Tobias, and Jared Allen. As for me, I was with my dog Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins, and Zoe. That was my first time getting to meet our assistant coach. And his name is, he goes by Walter Brown. Apparently he was a former player as well. Definitely looked a lot older than Coach Wells. From what Coach was saying, he was the coach at Grambling State for the last 5 seasons. As a former player, he was a primary defender. So anything we need about defensive coverages, we go to him. For wisdom as well. Coach looked about 60 plus, and I don't know what he got in the tank. But as for me, I'm coming out trying to show my teammates and my coaches all the tips I've been learning this all season. So I came out attacking the basket, of course, that's bread and butter. And that's for Zach. That man was on a mission already too. And I can say the same about Zion. So all 3 of us playing like this, 1 seed is in our sights once again. But as we all know, 1 seed ain't good enough. We're trying to get over the hump. And the one thing that'll get us over the hump is if I can get my shots down consistently. And the way I was breaking down Zion off the dribble, I had one thing in mind to show improving this training camp. That you have to worry about me on offense, not to pass the ball, but to put the ball in the basket. I caught my teammates off guard the way I never even looked to pass for the majority of this game. I had blood in my eyes, looking straight to the basket to score, even when Zion was on me. Baby food. I put this man in a blender and boomed it right over top him and Jared Allen. Dunk was so loud, even Coach's neighbors could feel it. The idea is that I should be leading this team in scoring, assisting. Heck, I might even be leading them in rebounding as well. Not to mention, I got aspirations of still being a 2-way player. According to Coach Wells, there's no reason that I shouldn't be the next up and coming star of this league. I got all the tools in the toolbox. I gotta put it together. I gotta really want it. Not just in practice, not just in the offseason, not just in training camp. It's gotta register from game 1 to game 82. And as this game came to a close, my boy Jayhawk hit the clinching 3. And Team Zion, Zach, Tobias, and Coach Wells all left with their heads down. They're my guys, but I gave it to them tonight. And as for Coach, my boy gave us some words of wisdom before we closed out. And he did mention one thing about him having a documentary up on YouTube. So after we left training camp, I made it a mission to go find it. And there it was. Apparently some guy named Wassup Sal did a whole documentary on Coach Wells' rookie season in the NBA. That's when I found out this man played with LeBron James, and in fact, they was in the same draft class, 03. But I never hear about him growing up. Shoot, I was born in 04. And I even seen Walter Brown too. Old head. We're about a week away from the beginning of the NBA season, my 3rd year. And after having multiple meetings with Coach Wells throughout the offseason, time is finally here. And he insists that I'll be the focal point of the offense the entire season. And by the end of the year, I should be leading the team in scoring. And I told him, that's a bet. Done deal. For the first time in my career, I got a head coach that really believes in me. And I wanted to do nothing less than prove him right. Before I headed out, I even took a visit to Coach Brown while he was getting all the defensive film ready. And I asked him, what you think I should be focusing on this year on defense, Coach? And he told me, there's no reason that you shouldn't be leading the NBA in steals. You got the perfect frame, speed, and everybody's smaller than you. So let's get to it. My grandson is in college. I'm telling him the same thing I'm telling you. And I asked him what's his grandson's name. He said Brent. Walter Brent Brown III, actually. And I said, okay, bet. Thank you, Coach. I decided to look him up for a change, trying to see his offspring. Lo and behold, a familiar face popped up on my screen. When I seen this highlight of him, I knew exactly who it was. My brain instantly just went into scramble mode. You telling me that kid that was dunking on me, Euro stepping Zoe, is my new assistant coach's grandson? They say people come in your life for a reason. I guess me and Coach Brown were gonna be both rocking UCLA gear this season. Small world. Well, the time is here. Opening night is right around the corner. And in game 1 of our 82-game season takes us to Brooklyn, New York, a familiar place of our head coach, Corey Wells. So before the game, we decided to run one quick playthrough, make sure everybody was on point. But up until this point, I failed to mention our rookie, Tyrell Princeton. While I was out in the offseason, the Pelicans drafted Tyrell in the second round. While he didn't have a spectacular career at UConn, the kid was 6'9", could face up and attack the basket solidly. I decided to test his gangster. So I remember in the practice before the game, I reached in for a jump ball and got a little violent with him. See how he would react. And he was with it. Not to mention he stared me down and got in my face. And I liked it. We need that kind of intensity and attitude on his team. And I was hoping he would get minutes in the actual game. I don't see why not. We kind of lack bigs. So if he can get some minutes and burn for us, that'll do wonders. But outside of that, I decided that I'm going to be the one that brings the intensity to these practices and to these games all season, starting now. If I pick it up, everybody will follow suit. And I'm here with it. We tip off approaching. I had a chance to get to the free throw line while I do my best envisioning. We got a new season, year 3. And up until this point in my career, I'm averaging about 16 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. Great numbers if you ask me. If I don't want to get that max contract extension, take my team over the hump, as coach said, I got a new level to unlock. And it starts now. I got Mikal Bridges on the menu in the Brooklyn Nets. And as the starting point guard, I already know what my job is. Guard the best player, get my teammates involved, but this season, more importantly than others, is to score. And as for the Nets, apparently they got some new kids starting. A second-year player named Israel King. I'm not really too much worried about him though, because I knew my assignment. Number 1 in white. As for the coaches, Coach Brown and Coach Wells are making their debuts in their respective roles. So it would mean nothing more to not only get a win for Coach Wells in New York City, but to get these guys their first W's in their first games of their career. So out the gate, I set a screen for Zach, knowing I would get the ball right back. But instead of looking for the open man, I jab behind the back, and I pull up for a mid-range bucket. Y'all know me from the mid-range, basically cash. And that's the difference this season. Instead of obviously looking to pass all the time, be aggressive. Get on the scoreboard early and dictate the tone of the game. That's something I'm familiar with, but not necessarily every night. But not every night that I get out hustled on the offensive glass by a shorter guard. I had to tip my cap to him. Back on the offensive side, I was in attack mode. If I wasn't scoring, I could still pass the ball. Y'all know that, right? I found my guy Jared Allen making a guest appearance. Here go the difference. I got the ball in the left corner. I hit him with a jab step pull. And as a wise man once said, hand down, man down. We were up by 22 at one point in the second quarter, and I'm sitting on the bench chilling, watching greatness. All the guys picking up right where we left off last season, minus the stepping out of bounds. We were the number 1 team in the NBA by record. And we ended the season in disappointing fashion. So to see guys like Zion coming back really flexing told me all I need to know. Everybody was locked in. Mikal Bridges, he was locked up. I'm really trying to embrace this two-way position this season. And once again, they found me in the corner with a little side jab. I pull a 3, and with the hand down once again, the result is the same. Bucket. And I hit the shot and immediately turned to coach with a head nod as if to say, Coach, I got you. It's like this all season long. I already know Coach Wells is proud. After having to sit through all the media, all the threats in the offseason, and all the agony, I came out in game 1 like a game buster, getting steals, transition dunks, and abusing mismatches. As one coach said, I'm 6'9" at 220. There's nobody on this court that can physically match up with me, pound for pound. Speaking of pound, I pounded Mikal Bridges' layup off the glass. I grabbed it for the rebound and pushed it up the break. I had Monte Morris on me, hit him with a step back and pulled a 3 in transition. Who do I feel like? Is this the new Kiante Blue? Pulling for transition 3s? This is textbook. Who else you know is getting a block, grabbing the rebound, not even looking to pass, knowing immediately that he's going to score, and transition has the balls to take that kind of shot. Look no further. And Zach represented us all. Hype, excited. Everybody was happy for me. Looked like I was taking the next step, even though it was only game 1. And as for the bench, y'all had one job. Keep the lead over 30. They said bet and stretched it to 40. And I was just over there hype on the bench cheering my guys up. Now do you know, rookie Tyrell Princeton scores his first NBA points. And at 40, I was still excited nonetheless on the bench. Even started clapping with Zach. Zion didn't like it too much. I don't know why, but him and Tyrell didn't get along. Regardless of what their status is, the whole team was balling. Even my friend Max got a 3 in there. And if you know me and Max got traded together to New Orleans 2 years ago. So we got a forever bond. And for Coach Wells, in his coaching debut, how about winning by 40 in your hometown? I wanted it for me, I wanted it for Coach, and I wanted it for our team. And I finished the game with 25, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds, not to mention 2 steals. Balling. This is only the beginning. I felt like I had a lot more in the tank. They only seen a tidbit, a sneak peek. And after the game, I was shocked. My PR lady told me that there was fans waiting to get their jerseys and balls signed. I really got fans out in Brooklyn? Never would have known. All offseason I was getting tortured and sitting in agony listening to everybody clown me. Now after my first game, I'm signing autographs and taking selfies with kids. I'm really living the dream, but it's only game 1. I gotta stay focused. Game 2 on the way. Game 2 took us to Charlotte, playing the lowly Hornets. And while this is a game we expect to win handily, I feel like this is a game I could take it up a notch. For the season, Coach challenged me not only be the leading scorer of this team, that I could be the face of the NBA at some point. And I told him I'm down for it. And in games like this, it's where I need to show out. So off the gate, I was taking it to the basket anytime I had it. If I didn't have that, I'm pulling for 3. And I may not have made every single one of them. But trust and believe, every time the ball is in my hands, I'm making the right play, naturally. So I didn't hit the 3 the first time. I get the double team. I find my guy Zach LaVine, who I knew was going to spray it down. And on defense, I'm playing safety. I pick it off, and in transition, I got one-track mindset, attack, and I boom it over top Charlotte Hornets' putrid defense. This crowd is Charlotte, shocked. It's a new man in town. His name is Kiante Blue, and I'm here to stay. Booming over top defenses. But you know, they say I'm running and dunking. Typical. So I had to prove them wrong eventually. For right now, I'm back on the bench chilling. Enjoying a big lead, watching my guy Zoe take over the second team, naturally. By the time I got back in the game, I told Coach, I ain't done yet. So in the mid-range, I saw they start double teaming me again, making a smart play with it. My guy Zach was always ready off the double team to spray the shot. And I'm telling you, we was up by big time double digits. That didn't stop me from scoring. I'm hitting the mid-range up, and trust and believe, I'm abusing that jab step, and they falling for it every time. Instead of taking a shot right there, I say, you know what, Malik Monk? I challenge you to a duel in the post. I turn and fade and hit the bucket. I'm telling you, bigger, stronger, faster. All the offseason preparation really worked out. We ended up beating Charlotte by 40 points, and I dropped a career high 32 points and 13 rebounds, along with 7 assists. And shoot, if I can get 2 steals a game for the rest of the season, I'm for sure gonna win the steals race. I got a shot at Defensive Player of the Year. But as for tonight, I was all smiles. Me, Coach Wells, Coach Brown, and his New Orleans Pelicans team started the season off 2-0 in dominant fashion. And while some people questioned the hire, even myself, it didn't take much to realize why he was here. I have a fuel on my back, brighter, stronger than I ever was at any point in my basketball career. And I have him to thank for that. And after the game, once again, it's something I gotta get used to. More fans. It's the part of the NBA life that makes all these blowouts worthwhile. The young fans that come to see you for the first time and you put on a show, they'll remember this forever. So will I. As I dapped up the last fans, me and Coach Brown chopped it up about defensive schemes. By the time we got back home, Coach Wells came to my locker and he told me, yo, I feel like you got another level to go up to. I said, bruh, I just dropped 32 and 25 on back-to-back nights. That's a lot for me. He said, that's true. But remember before the season, I told you I feel like you can be the face of the NBA at some point. That doesn't stop after 2 good games. Don't limit yourself from greatness, youngin'. Success is a journey, not a destination. That's all right, philosopher. I got you. It's October 31st. Exactly 5 months since the last time I walked off this court in an NBA game. Game 7 left a sour taste in everybody's mouth around the city. But despite our great start to the season on the road, opening night was nerve-wracking for me. Tonight's opponent didn't look to be easy. Matter of fact, I'm going against Scoot Henderson again. Apparently Portland gave up on him in the offseason and traded him in a blockbuster deal for multiple first-round picks to Utah. Utah believes they got their guy in the backcourt. As far as the front court, well, they dipped in the draft. and reached for an Alabama State center named Kofi Musa. And another HBCU product will be my matchup tonight is in their starting lineup as well. His name is Marcus Aduba. Apparently was one of the greatest players to ever grace a HBCU uniform. And after dominating over there, I guess he looks to match up against me in his rookie season. And this Utah team looks alright. They got size at every position. Might be a great matchup for us. One of those sneaky ones. They're a young team, so the experience is lacking. And as for me, I'm young too. Heck, me and this Marcus dude about the same age. But on the NBA level, he's still a rook. And I had him locked up at the beginning of the game. As far as offense, I didn't come out as aggressive. Matter of fact, Zach led the way for us. And while we got off to a good lead, this Utah Jazz team was not bad at all. Matter of fact, they had a little twin tower situation down in the paint with Walker Kessler and a young rook from the HBCU, Musa. So as far as us, we're gonna have some issues in the paint. When you got a beast like Zion down low, even though he's undersized, overpowering them, and it doesn't matter. But it's fairly evident. If I wasn't on this dude, he could score over anybody on the court. So I made sure to make it a point to guard him. But on the offensive side, I contributed nothing right at the end of the first quarter. And coach left me in for the last minute and some change to figure it out. So I used the screen from Rook, pull it for the mid-range to get myself going. And now I got Zoe in the game, and our chemistry is elite right now. And I decided to do something I rarely do. Really just pull for a three off the catch. There goes my improvement. I'm a threat now. With the shot clock and game clock winding down at the end of the first quarter, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I got a second-year guy guarding me. I hit him with a post spin, fade, and at the buzzer, drained the mid-range shot to give my team momentum. With a double-digit lead in the beginning of the second quarter, it was my time to cook. Behind the back on Scoot Henderson, blowing right past the defense and over the Twin Towers, booming. I dunked right over both of them 7-footers like they were nothing. I'm talking about put my knee right in the midsection. Statement. I let the city of New Orleans know I'm back and better. I literally shook the rim and the arena. And after that, it was curtains. The Jazz got sweet chin music. I was dominating. This jab step had Scoot Henderson going left and right as the shot was going down. And everybody in the arena was a witness. Even Coach Wells. He tried to fight it at first. Even he was impressed with the way I was attacking and scoring. It's what he envisioned. And at a timeout, my teammates embraced me. But I had that look on my face like I wasn't done yet. But in the meantime, I had to give an appreciation for my coach. As a first-year guy, it's nearly hard and impossible to capture the locker room and the veterans. But everybody was all eyes and ears and every timeout as he was spit. And for me, this is the first coach that ever put a vision in me to be better. So I had no choice but to be all ears. As far as the Utah Jazz, I really see that they have a bright future in my opinion. But for the now, it's us, nobody else. They can score all they want. When you up 30, that really don't affect you. They tried to double team me down in the post. They forgot I'm a passer, but this time I pass it and get it back. And instead of passing it again, I blow right through Scoot Henderson, lower my shoulder, and get to the basket and let out a yell. Season 3 is if I wasn't in my bag enough, I would hit this running floater over the rookie center. And at this point, I knew it was game time. With this floater, I clipped 40 points on the night. And as if it couldn't get any better, Scoot Henderson decided he wanted to take me one-on-one. Little did he know, he was in 23-1, lockdown, prison. I sent his shot back to Portland, where he should have stayed. Meanwhile, I got taken out the game with a career night. I was in shock. I ain't never been that aggressive on offense scoring-wise. And towards the end of the game, I got to thinking, Coach is right. We got another level to unlock. As individuals, as a team, everybody's going to be needed if we want to get over the hump. Now, whether we play the Lakers again or not, we need everybody playing their best and with the confidence to play their best when it's time to. And it starts in these games right here. And as for me, I dropped my career high 41 points, followed with 8 assists, 9 rebounds, 4 steals. And I got to thinking, I feel great. What's really stopping me from doing this every night? Nothing. path to success doesn't come without struggle. Sometimes you gotta go through trials to reach your triumph. All the OGs always told me, just respect the game. And I get that. And I have been. But I'm flipping my mindset around for the first time. I've been respecting the game my whole career. But it's about time I make the game respect me. How you earn that respect is how you face off against the league's best. Tonight, while it's been a couple of years since they joined up, I'm still going against one of the most dangerous backcourts in the NBA. We got Luka and Kyrie on the menu tonight. And I'll tell y'all this, if it's one thing Coach Corey's already taught me early on this season, intimidation is already the first step in defeat. If I'm intimidated by my competition, they already won. So this year, I got no fear when I step on the court. Matter of fact, I know nobody does it how I do it. I get it done on both sides of the ball. At the end of the day, this season, I'm not afraid to put the 3-ball up. You gotta get a hand up on me. If not, I'm gonna pay the consequences. So all that lazy defense, I gonna cut it. I know for a fact, I got the best D on the court, and nobody can top that. So for us tonight, we had to make it a point to punch this team early in the gut. Look, the Mavericks haven't been that good lately. They have got some good draft picks, including one of AJ Jackson from Texas Southern University. Now I ain't gonna lie, the HBCUs have been well represented this year in the NBA. I gotta respect it. They ain't got nothing to do about how I'm gonna do the Mavericks tonight. And for the squad, it was a rough start early. Guys were missing shots that they normally make, and we haven't lost a game so far this season. I ain't wanna start tonight. And look, at one point, Coach Corey put me on the bench and put a battery in my back. He reminded me, intimidation goes both ways. So I decided I'm gonna make my impact. And I put Luka right on the ground on all fours. I rose up and yammed it on him. And all of a sudden, I felt the arena get electrified. The dunk was so crazy, my teammates couldn't help but laugh and hide their face. At that point, I felt like I established myself. In that moment, I'm bringing back the two-way guards to the NBA, one way or another. As for Luka, it'd be alright. But my dunk put a spark in this team. As the defense stepped all the way up, and in transition, you already know the results. I feel like I'm the best transition player in the NBA. Maybe that could be argued, but what can't is my connection with Zach LaVine ever since he arrived last season. And after getting off to a slow start, our winning ways continued tonight against Dallas. And I had one of the best games in my career on defense. When he combined 3 steals, 2 blocks, 15 assists, it's only a matter of time before I became a household name. And this season, I'm taking it to everybody, at home or on the road. Legends or rookies, don't matter to me. You in the way, I'm going through you. A different mindset, all led by Coach Wells, and my attention to detail in the offseason. Not everything was perfect. Like I told you guys, it seemed like there was an influx of rookies and new talent that would soon take over the NBA. But this season, everything was in a balance. The old players was trying to figure out their way, while the new guys was trying to earn their spots. Speaking of which, we had to try to earn a win on the road against Phoenix after we were down by double digits. So coming out of halftime, I decided to be more aggressive. And this season got me acting different. I'm dropping in teardrop floaters like I never had before. And in the second half, the team got going again. And it all started with me being more aggressive on offense and continuing it out throughout the game. And listen, this game was really close. Phoenix is not a bad team. They just don't know what direction they're trying to go in. They got youth, they got old heads. And tonight, the youth was taking over late in the game. So much so, the coach was getting frustrated not only with the whole team, but me in particular. I was getting a little careless with the basketball, and the young guys on their team was taking full advantage. And this kid, Grant Thomas Jr., took it straight to me. While he didn't make this layup, I did foul him, I admit it. And while we started the season off 5-0, we would suffer our first loss on the road here in Phoenix to the young guys. And while I had a decent performance, it was my first taste of realizing that putting up good numbers just might not be good enough this season. Gotta really focus on winning basketball games. But no basketball game might have been more important than this next one we got coming up on the road. The team we facing tonight really needs no introduction, but at the same time, it's not quite the same. See, LeBron retired after winning the championship last season, leaving the team in D'Angelo Russell's hands. Not to mention Anthony Davis, who decided to stick around after the championship. And while they may not be as big of a threat as they were in previous years, does that mean I'm gonna take my foot off the gas pedal? Absolutely not. I see number 1 in white and gold in front of me, and I'm taking it to him every time. I'm talking about bully, aggressive mode. And I told the rest of my team, I don't care who they got in them jerseys. Every time we see the LA Lakers, we gotta see food. 4 games, 1 game, I don't care what it is. We gotta attack. That's exactly how we came out at the crypto. I'm talking about every time I saw D'Angelo Russell put the ball on the ground, I tried to snatch it. And on defense, on offense, same mentality. Attack. You would have thought I was a pit bull out there tonight. My dog Alonzo Kilpatrick has been hooping to start this season off. Not to mention, we got the ultimate safety valve. Every time I dump it down to Zion, good things happen. Even if I don't make the shot, he's always in prime position to get the offensive rebound. And tonight I admit, my 3-point shot was not falling like it normally has. That don't matter, because you know what happens? I go back to the bread and butter. Since my arrival in New Orleans 2 years ago, me and Zion's pick and roll has been nearly unstoppable. The more we perfected it. Every time I roll, the defender stays with me. Zion is just too big and strong for the drop defender. And in transition, we unstoppable. And my defense on D'Angelo Russell could have got me arrested. And to match that with my offense, hey, I know the Lakers were wearing white and purple tonight, but I was seeing red. Even though this is a regular season game, playing the Lakers, it's gonna always mean something to me for the rest of my career. The team that drafted me, sat me on the bench, sent me down to the G League, and eventually traded me. I'll never forget it. Not to mention the team that's bounced me out of the playoffs first 2 years of my career. This year, the vibes feel a little bit different in the crypto. No LeBron, lost that aura it had. And for once, it felt like we really might have the upper hand on this team for good. And they didn't seem like they were going to have a great season this year. So there was no worries about us playing them in the playoffs. And so we were hyped, stomping all over the crypto arena. The fans, they let us have it. Listen, in their heads, they won a championship over us. They got the upper hand. But I had to remind the guys, our future is bright. And I'm setting the tone, this season and beyond. So tonight, me and Zion stormed over LA. And I secured my first ever triple-double. And it felt amazing. But I had something else on my mind after the game. See, not too far away, my boy Trevor Cole was making his NCAA debut against USC. And while I couldn't be at the game because I was in the game of my own, I made sure I got home and tried to watch it. But I noticed something. My boy was not starting. But who was? It was Coach O.T. Walter Brown's grandson, Brent Brown. And this team had a whip. Matter of fact, they came out sparking against USC. I don't know too much about college basketball these days, but I do know this. The way this team was moving the basketball and playing defense, my boy Lil T gonna have to earn his minutes on this team. And the way Brent Brown was hooping, hey, I might be seeing him in the league soon. The moment finally came. I seen number 1 in gold walking up to the scorer's table and almost got emotional. My boy Tavion would be so proud of his little brother, just like I am. My boy checked in the game, got an immediate assist. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I ended up falling asleep and didn't get to witness his first points. Maybe somebody will cover it one day. I got faith that my boy Trevor's gonna be alright. But I got a big month coming up for my career. It's December. That means we on the road a lot, on the East Coast. And for me, I got a chance to go back home to Chicago, get a nice home-cooked meal. But first, I had to serve up the Chicago Bulls like I always do. Let me not say that, because last year I missed 13 shots and y'all said it was in honor of Tavion. But this year is different. So much so the Chicago broadcast was speaking about me.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. If I had an early vote for MVP, I might go with Kiante Blue. Listen, I know he a youngin'. It's still early. His scoring numbers have come down since the beginning of the season, but he's still leading the NBA in assists and grabs almost 10 rebounds a game. If he keep this pace up and the Pelicans keep winning, I don't see why he shouldn't at least be a finalist. Hey, only time will tell, right?
As time was passing along, I found myself in different cities, taking on the NBA's elite, and doing my best to strap up and hold on tight. That's what you gotta do when you're going against Ja Morant. It was in his bag. Now the Grizzlies themselves, they were just not it. And it was only a matter of time before Ja probably requested out. The way he was killing me tonight, man, he put on a show in front of the Memphis crowd. And I started to get a little embarrassed. So I tried to hit my moves myself. My shot, just didn't hit the same. Thankfully, I had a way better team than Ja does. So the lead was never in question. What was my pride and my dignity. And he was trying to leave that on the court. So much so, I had to pull my shorts up and strap him up for that possession. And on offense, it wasn't perfect, but I had the shots that needed to be hit. I remember one possession, Ja just stared me down, cooked me, took it to the basket, put my boy Jared Allen on a poster. I'm talking about nuts all in his fro. It was my fault. And I pride myself on being an elite defender, but that time, I really got cooked. It cost my man J.A. a facial. And after that, Coach Wells has seen more than enough. As he took me out for the rest of the game, we made it back home just in time to play the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they weren't having the greatest start to the season themselves. The way I was hooping, it's one of the last games in the month of December. At this point, I was getting ready to complete the greatest month of my NBA career, averaging a triple-double, scoring 28 points a game. And tonight, my matchup was Anthony Edwards, one of the faces of the league. And I took that personal as always. On defense, I played like a safety. And on offense, I played like a sniper. I came out the gate shooting threes, getting steals, and once again, putting the league on notice. This is a regularity for me, not a fluke. Meanwhile, on defense, Minnesota Timberwolves were having a hard time getting good shots. When you got a guy like Anthony Edwards, it don't really matter too much. He can hit any shot on the basketball court. But for us, we were making sure we worked the ball inside and got it outside when we needed to. And as far as on defense, hey, we were doing everything you would want a defense to do. Strap up and force a tough shot. But the best player in the court for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, was hitting them all game. So we just made sure we kept pace and knocked down shots when needed. And on offense for me, I was coming off screens, getting floppy action, and draining them. I had one of my best first halves I've ever had scoring-wise, scoring over 25 points in an electrifying fashion. Meanwhile, Ant had to sit the bench towards the end of the first half. Watch me cook. With a few seconds before halftime, I hit a step back mid-range to cap off my amazing first half. Oh, but if you thought the show was over in the second half, you're sadly mistaken. At a halftime, I applied even more defensive pressure, reaching in and getting the steal on the rookie, diving for the loose ball in front of the fans. And man, if I hit this shot right here, y'all wouldn't heard the end of it. My boy Zion was there cleaning up. These are the type of plays I'm making all year to separate myself. In the meantime, as I went for the steal, I noticed that the rookie on their team had the same wrist injury that it looked like I had back in the Summer League of 2024. And I remember that hurt. And I was sidelined for the rest of the Summer League and missed about a good month and had to wear a wrap. So I felt bad for the rook. And it seemed like Anthony Edwards took it personal once we got him injured. Because after that, he went on a personal run to get the Timberwolves right back in his ball game, taking over. And I promise, whether it was me guarding him or anybody else on the team, it was nothing anybody could do to stop him. He went on a personal 15-2 run, and what was once a 25-point lead got cut down to 10. And right before the end of the third quarter, he had me on isolation, hit me with a step-back mid-range bucket. Nothing I could do. He was scoring over me, Zach LaVine. Anybody that asked for it, they got it. And for me, I just tried to keep my composure. Getting into a scoring battle is something I wasn't used to. As a matter of fact, I don't think it was something I was ready for. At one point in the fourth quarter, coach had to sit me down to catch my breath. And it was then that I realized, we still winning this game. I don't need to get into a back and forth battle with another great player. What I need to do is focus on keeping my teammates involved and stretching the lead. While I was on the bench, they didn't even need me on the court. They did it just fine themselves. Coach was proving a point. Listen, every night ain't a personal battle. Some nights, you need to put the team first, focus on the victory. He was giving me the tools to become a better leader. Going forward, I had to take over for the team. Heading into January, we had dealt with some injuries. Zach LaVine was out, Zion Williamson was out, and we were also missing some key guys off the bench. So guys like Alonzo Kilpatrick had to step in and step up. Tonight, we're going against Victor Wembanyama, the Rookie of the Year in my class, and arguably one of the best players in the NBA right now. Really wasn't nothing he couldn't do on the court. So for me, yet another night, I could prove myself. Then I remember what coach was telling me about. Get the guys involved and make sure the team is on point and don't get into personal battles. Me and Wemby ain't even matched up against each other, so it's no use. And he's right. But at the beginning of this game, my teammates just didn't have a rhythm at all, so it was hard to get it going. For me, I'm used to having Zach LaVine and Zion on the court to balance things out. Without them on the court, it seemed like the defense was targeted against me entirely, so it was important that I had the guys step up early to alleviate the pressure. Thanks to my guy Zoe, he stepped right in the starting lineup and did just that. But on the defensive side of the ball, There's nothing we could do with that unicorn on the San Antonio Spurs. This man Victor Wembanyama can shoot over anybody and get a bucket. Not to mention last year they drafted the dude KJ Turner, who was also a beast. So between them two early, they were giving us fits on both sides of the court. Really wasn't much we could do about it either. Jared Allen was getting cooked down in the paint. Not to mention, they had this kid named Anthony Hardaway come off the bench and get buckets as well. Now, I remember watching him at Syracuse a couple years ago, so it's crazy to see him hooping against us now. Hey, y'all ever seen a unicorn dribble? This man was giving Jared Allen fits all first half. I decided to finally take a stand and get a defensive stop, something that I'm used to. I tried to get some life into my team. I intercepted this pass like a safety, then I gave it up in transition to my boy Tyrell Princeton, and he just couldn't convert. It was just that kind of first half. To add insult to injury, or injury to insult. This guy Anthony Hardaway had another wrist injury that I just saw before. PTSD was a crazy thing, ain't it? Meanwhile, coach brought us in together to get it together. We were losing to the San Antonio Spurs. Despite the great players they drafted, they're not that great of a team right now. We're supposed to be the best team in the West. And once again, I got another reality check. No excuses. I'm supposed to be the leader and setting the tone. So when we're getting the ball ripped away from us like this, and getting punked on our home court, it's a problem. When you got a 7'5" dude hitting sky hooks over your best center and intercepting passes like a safety, whew, it's a lot to ask for. And on defense, we seemed like we were outsized for the first time in the season. And I was getting punked and bullied by Wembanyama myself. No use in the switch. Every time I got on him, it was barbecue chicken for him. Hey, every team got their team that they struggle with. And the Spurs might have just been that team for us. As Turner just hit a dagger over Tyrell Princeton, stared him down in his face and drained it. And as for me, I'm just trying to get myself going in any way possible. My jump shot was just not falling. Without guys like Zion and Zach on the court, it made it more imperative that I figured it out. Thankfully, my guy Zoe was locked and loaded. And later on in the game, we had to start coming back. The game was slipping away from us, and the Spurs were not letting up. But my jump shot just could not fall. It was like I was trying to shoot a basketball to a peephole. For the Spurs, it was quite the opposite. Between Turner and Wembanyama, they were taking turns having hibachi on us. At one point, coach called a timeout. Started flexing my shoulder like something was wrong with it, knowing good well I was perfectly healthy. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, so he sat me down once again. With the Spurs having a double-digit lead in the third quarter, he reminded me, I'm here to lead. Figure it out. The great players, they just get it done. No questions asked. So while I was on the bench, I had to witness us continue to get cooked all the way going into the fourth quarter. With about 7 minutes left, we found ourselves down 14. Coach put me back in the game and said, listen, if you like that, get us back in this ball game. And I ain't never backed away from a challenge. So as soon as I checked back in the basketball game, I rose up and did the unthinkable. Blacked out. Right over Victor Wembanyama. Put that man on the poster. 7'5", 230 pounds on the ground. And as for me, I felt like I just shot life back into the basketball arena. Into the game. Felt like myself again. Whether my shot was gonna fall or not, I know one thing. I was about to give it my all. Speaking of which, I made a crazy rotation to get this block on a 3-point shot on Turner. And it seemed like after that, the team had life again. This shot right here was crazy. I passed it off of the fingertips and it went in. And at that point, I knew it was meant to be. We got right back in the basketball game, cutting it to within 5. And I have to admit, I don't know what happened, but it just seemed like after that dunk, things just started going our way. The team came together and my leadership took over. Without our big guys, it didn't matter. The one thing I couldn't figure out was my jump shot. I kept forcing it. Listen, I felt like shooters shoot. And Wemby had that same mindset. He missed it as well. So about a minute and some change, we still down 3. And for the life of me, I thought I was going to pull this 3-point shot to try to tie the game again. But I thought against it. And I tried to get 3 the old-fashioned way. And even though I got blocked, they called a foul. So I had a chance to step up to the line and cut the lead to 1. Y'all know I've been working on my free throws since the beginning of my career. But while I used to be a bricklayer back in Villanova, oh my, have things changed. So I thought. With a 2-point lead, the Spurs got the ball right back, and they gave it to KJ Turner, who gave it to Wembanyama, who gave it back to us. With a 4-point deficit, the ball continued to remain in my hands. I had to figure it out though. No Zion pick and roll, no spray out to Zach. I had to get it on my own. And with Blake Wesley guarding me, I figured it out. In a 2-point game, the Spurs put the ball in the hands of KJ Turner, who I was guarding, and he hit me with a nice little move, back pedal, and a 3-point shot. Gave the Spurs a 5-point lead with about 30 seconds, and coach was pissed at me. I'm supposed to lock that up. So back on the offensive side of the ball, I did what I had to do. 5-point game, I threw up a 3 and finally hit one with 15 seconds. So you know we had to play the foul game. When we put Blake Wesley on the free throw line, I challenged him. Hit these free throws to win the game for your team. And by a miracle, that man went up and bricked both free throws. Believe it or not, we were down 2 with a chance to tie and win the ball game, but a little over 10 seconds left in the game. Coach called the timeout. There's really no play drawn up. He stared at me, told me to go make a play. All my teammates were passionate that they were going to be ready to shoot if I gave them the ball. But in my head, I decided I was going to go for the tie. I had Blake Wesley on me, and I figured if I get in my sweet spot, in my post up, I was butter. We going to OT. 1 second left, I spin, put the ball in the air. At that point, it's out of my control. Off. I just knew it was going in too. So did the fans. I couldn't come through tonight. Coach was speechless, disappointed. Just like everybody else in the arena that was rooting for us. I had one of my worst games of the season, and there was nothing I could do about it. Yeah, I may have had 12 assists tonight, but I had 5 turnovers and 35% shooting. This wasn't gonna cut it. It's a new era in the NBA. And I'm telling you, when the guys Zion and Zach came back, things was barbecue chicken again. We had another road stretch, and this time, wasn't no letdown. My guy was back. Hey, do you want to argue that Zion is just as impactful as I am on this team? No question. But for me, it just helps having a safety blanket down there. And when he's back, everything just works. We went on the Midwest road trip to Cleveland, Detroit, and Milwaukee. I'm telling you, I took no prisoners. Everything was barbecue chicken against some of the NBA's best in the East Coast. But one thing that was for certain, my man Tobias Harris was Mr. Invisible all year. Matter of fact, y'all probably haven't even seen him yet, because this man is having his worst career year yet. He was still a starter this whole time, taking minutes from Zoe. In the game against Milwaukee though, he had one of his worst games of his career, shooting 0 for 12, and having a minus 10 plus minus in a game we won. Coach Wells, Coach Brown made the phone call to management. Before you knew it, when we got back on the road trip, Tobias was traded. And get this, we didn't even get players back. They traded him for future draft picks. That just meant more playing time for my guy Zoe and others on his team to step up in roles that they were ready for. So we inserted Zoe into the starting lineup going forward, and it made a huge impact. I remember a game we played against Atlanta after the Tobias trade. Atlanta was the #1 team in the East once again. Trae Young was the reigning MVP. Tonight, in this game, I ain't see that. Every time I had Trae on me, barbecue, honey glaze. And I don't even need chicken like that. That's how easy it was tonight. I'm shooting over him. I'm shooting beside him. I'm shooting around him. I'm doing everything I can to get this victory against him and prove myself that I'm right there with the league's best. If that's the MVP from last year, I should be in the conversation this year. My numbers, the team success, everything is there. And our confidence is skyrocketing as we head into the All-Star break. We blew out the Atlanta Hawks at home and proved a point. Throw out our loss last year against the Lakers. We trying to come back for everything we earned last year and double back. And as for myself, heading into the All-Star break, I was putting up a career year. And after feeling like I got snubbed from the All-Star team last year, the announcements were coming in for the starters. Thanks to my New Orleans fan base, fans I've gained across the country, I was voted in the All-Star starter, making my first appearance here in 2026. I couldn't believe it. City of New Orleans and our media, so excited for me. I couldn't help but thank them. So I got my hair braided up and got ready to go on the All-Star break to Las Vegas. Before I went, I I answered a lot of questions and told the fans, me making the All-Star team is representation of this team in the city. Not just my work, everybody's work. Then I took off. Las Vegas, here I am. All-Star year, 2026. And it's crazy. I was voted as a starter, but due to new rules, I had to come off the bench. I can't even tell y'all why. But just know, I was just excited to be here amongst the NBA's best, so I couldn't even complain at all. And it was just crazy seeing all the league's best players on one basketball court. On the other side, they had guys like D. Mitch, Garland, and some new faces. There I was, sitting next to Zion, my guy. Can't believe we made the All-Star team together. It's the place he's been at. Me? I'm a newcomer. So I remember the first time I checked in the game, I didn't know what to do. Now I remember Jason Tatum kind of challenged me. I backed off from thinking it was the All-Star game, and he hit a 3. So I said, bet. I come right at you and match you. Hit a 3 of my own. Then I started to D up a little bit. Didn't matter. That's what the All-Star game is for, right? Elite shot making. Me and JT had a little 3-point battle for a couple minutes in the All-Star game, and it felt crazy. It was very short-lived. See, I was nursing a little shoulder injury for a little bit, and the Pelicans front office didn't want me risking it by playing too much in the All-Star game. So I sat on the bench for most of the second half, got to enjoy the show. Me and my guy Zion. And as the weekend came to a close, I got a chance to reflect, look forward. My mission is not complete yet. Matter of fact, I'm just getting started.
NBA released the official MVP ladder, and I couldn't believe my eyes. They got Kiante Blue. Top 3, Mr. Step Out of Bounds in the biggest moments, Mr. 3-1 lead choker. Maybe I'm just not seeing what y'all see. Still got Shea over the kid, and I still got Trey over old boy. We still got a couple months left in the season for it to fall off, and we know it's coming. We'll see who's the real MVP soon enough.
Apparently the NBA released the MVP ladder, and I was second place, near the top. And I was going against all the guys they had as finalists over this next stretch. I already played Trey. Tonight, I was at Oklahoma City playing Shea. In the beginning of this game, I was a flamethrower, came out sparking. And honestly, so did he. And the Thunder, they were really taking it to us. We were on life support, trying to battle back. And while everybody was hooping, our defense just wasn't up to par. I'm talking about everybody's shots were going in, on both sides. And at one point, it was a shootout. But that don't get it done. Because when you run out of ammo, and the other team doesn't, turns into a blowout, very much one-sided. With Shea being number 1 on the MVP ladder, a game like this only seemed like it cemented it. The Thunder really blew us out their gym and kind of said it was levels to it. And if y'all didn't know, we currently sit in 3rd place in the West, and the Thunder are ahead of us at first. By only a couple of games, but games like this make that difference big. It was humbling losing to the Thunder on the road, but to be honest, it seemed like after the All-Star break, my career was taking off. I was getting more endorsement deals, more interviews, more commercials. Very much different. I was coming out of my comfort shell, really getting my face out there for the league. So much so, I even got a big endorsement deal from Gatorade.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. It is an exciting day for us today here at Gatorade as we launch Gatorade GX, our brand new customizable hydration system that reinvents the way you fuel.
Gatorade decided to sign me to a 10-year contract. And as if that wasn't enough, thanks to my connection with Zion, also got a big shoe endorsement from Jordan Brand.
And the Jordan team is thrilled to have him on board. Yeah, you gotta wear Jordans, man. That's just part of the deal. Jordans or Nikes only, that's it.
As the season was winding down, it seemed like I was turning up. My face was becoming a regularity on TV screens, on social media, and my focus was all over the place. So before a home game in March, Coach kicked it to me, and he kept it real. It reminded me that the team needs me locked in for the playoffs upcoming. No matter what seed we are, we gotta make sure we get over the hump, because that's what he was hired for. And I felt it. I appreciated him for it. He helped me regain my focus and reminded me, you want to be regarded as one of the best players in the league? It's the time where you make your bread butter and get it done for the team. He was right. So I flipped the switch. Playoff mode activated. We in March. The season is coming to a close, which meant every game matters. When you playing teams like the Golden State Warriors, or unfortunately for the Bay Area fans, I've seen better times. You got to put your foot on their neck in any way possible. And there was one point where Steph Curry was automatic from 3. But as the aging superstar continues to shoot, more misses go up. That means I'm out in transition winning my matchup. And at this point in the season, we were finding our stride at the perfect time. The coach was absolutely right. I took every game oh so serious at this point. Especially this game against the Houston Rockets, who at this point were the number 2 team in the West. And we were tied with them, 57 wins apiece. And this game was extra important for seeding. This is a big deal for Coach as well. He used to be an assistant on this Rockets team, so he knew all the ins and outs that Coach Ime Udoka would try to run. And early on, we just attacked the middle and attacked the paint. They got Jabari Smith Jr. down there. While he's been a beast this season, we knew if we got the 2 Z's activated, everything would be alright. And early on in the first quarter, we were putting on a defensive masterclass, talking mano-a-mano, everybody guarding their man to the best of their ability. So much so, the Rockets couldn't even barely get a shot off. And I took it upon myself to guard their best player on offense, Jalen Green. If I knew if he had a rough night, it would make a great night for us. Now in transition, we were the best team in the league, so it didn't matter too much. But I ain't gonna lie, as the first quarter went along, this man Jalen Green started to heat up. And it started to turn into a back and forth battle. Defense was optional. And even though I was right there on the contest, it didn't matter too much. And at this point, us and the Rockets were just having a high scoring battle. On into the second quarter, same thing continued. This time though, I decided to up my defense a little bit, play safety. To be honest, if you're a fan of basketball, NBA fan, it's the perfect game for you to watch. Elite scoring on both ends. I'm telling y'all, if this was a playoff series, might go 7. At this point, nobody knows who was the better team. All I knew is, if I had Van Vliet on me, it was barbecue wraps from him. They had to make sure they switched him off of me at one point. And as far as our team, everybody had a rhythm. I was pulling from deep over Van Vliet like he was a chair. This late in the season, my confidence was at an all-time high. I'm hitting my threes, I'm playing defense. There's really nothing I felt like I couldn't do on the basketball court. And as far as the Rockets, they had no answer. They tried their hardest to get Van Vliet off of me. At the end of the second quarter, I buried a 3. Going into the fourth quarter, we ran up the score so bad. Man, Coach kept me in the game though. You can say I was stat padding, I don't really care. When you're going against a team like the Rockets that got your spot, you gotta send them a message that we gonna be here no matter what the circumstances are. We blew them boys out. I seen the guys checking in for me. And as I was walking off the court, looked up at the scoreboard, realized I dropped 38, 13, and 8 in one of my greatest games of my career. After that game, I started to hear chatter. Some fans had me over Shea and MVP talks, and I couldn't believe it, but I had to stay focused. We were dealing with a lot of injuries at this point in the season, so much so that management informed us that we had to make a signing from the G League before the playoffs. So we tapped down to our Birmingham Squadron G League affiliate team. Apparently, we had the best 3-point shooter in the G League down there the whole time. As the G League season came to a close, the team decided to sign this kid named Tai Cook. Apparently, he's around my age group. He used to be a first-round pick. Apparently, he tore his ACL. Never really got to enjoy an NBA season yet. He's 23 years old. They tell me he's got a point to prove. He's been waiting on this opportunity for a while. So we decided to bring him up just in time for the playoffs. For our first practice with him, this man knew exactly what to do. Roll off the screen to the corner, and I'm telling you, if he's coming off our bench hitting shots like this, it's gonna be a problem come playoff time. 2026 NBA playoffs, we here. New Orleans, we right back at it. For the season, we finished as the number 2 seed after beating the Houston Rockets at the end. At this point, it's my 3rd go around at this. For Coach Wells, it's first time in the playoffs as a head coach. And when this time around, we're playing the Phoenix Suns in the first round. And they still got guys like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on that squad, not to mention some young talent. But for us, we beat them 3 times in the regular season. And they beat us that one time early on. We didn't have no fear in our hearts. KD was having an okay season, but none better than ours. So we were confident, happy, and lit, yet focused still. And as for me, it was my chance to touch back in the playoffs after my blunder, and I wasted no time. Yeah, this kid with his afro guarded me early on in the game, and I couldn't believe it. And I had to give a shout out to Devin Booker, our sixth man. Telling you, every time he put up a shot, we celebrated. Coach's game plan, get up and down the court, make these old heads work for it. We did exactly that. And even when we were in the half-court setting, I'm blowing right past my guy, going to the basket every time. Phoenix Suns really didn't have an interior paint presence, and we did. Our team matched up super well against them, made it extremely difficult for them to keep up. And in transition, shots was going up left and right. With Zoe Kilpatrick in the starting lineup this time around in the playoffs, I'm telling you, it makes it more dangerous. But it hurts seeing my guy Valanciunas get beat like this. At the same time, it's business. We had a mission this year, and it wasn't impossible. We had a goal to get right back where we left off at. We had to take it one game at a time. In the game one, we took no prisoners. We blew out the Phoenix Suns at home and gave the fans a show. We even got Tai Cook in the game at the end, got him a layup. Boy got his first playoff points after he was just in the G League. Our defense can use some work this game. When you scoring over 150 points in a playoff game, nothing else matters. In games 1 and 2, we broke an NBA record. Most points scored in the first 2 games of a series in NBA history. As we doubled up, 145 in game 2. And after that, we had to hit the road to Phoenix. Everybody clicking, all shots firing, coach and OG, and they coaching bags. The game plans was all set. The closest game happened to be game 3, and I admit, Phoenix didn't back down from us. But in the fourth quarter, bread and butter time. Me and Zion in the pick and roll unguardable. I don't know what this kid was thinking driving it on me. I'm on that. And I should be first team all defense this year. And if I'm not, I'm gonna have a problem. KD, he ain't had no problem putting that shot up and cutting the lead to 1 for Phoenix. When a minute and 30 left, coach called a timeout, reminded us what the mission is, to win. And my boy Zoe was having a terrible game. So in comes Tai Cook. Coach brought him in off the bench to replace Zoe in the final stages of the game. We really just needed one big shot. So coach drew up a play, ironically, to give my boy Ty a chance to cook. We ran a floppy for him off the back. Coach wanted me to dribble the clock down a little bit to take some steam off. My boy Zion would set a screen for Ty in the corner. And just like practice, he would come off the screen, float to that corner, get to his sweet spot. And I'm telling you, he had as good of a stroke as I've seen. With his 3-point shot, it made the lead a 4-point game with a minute left. I don't care how good the Phoenix Suns thought they were. When you give us a lead like this and any cushion at the end of the game and tell us we got to strap up, it's exactly what we do. My boy Valanciunas tried to keep the ball alive for them. Didn't work. They had to play the foul game. Before you know it, game 3 was ours. And I finished with a near triple-double. You know what that meant? It was sweep time. Game 4, the Phoenix crowd was loud. But we decided to rock our throwback uniforms in the whites. And as for me, I was just finding my guys all series long, bro. I ain't had to force nothing. When you got Devin Booker playing for us as well, this makes things that much easier. And as we all know in transition, we're unguardable. They may have stopped it right there, but you gotta keep up on me. I got the ability to pull from anywhere now. As I was sitting on the bench, getting some rest during the game, I noticed something. I really feel like this team is better than last year's. We got guys like Zoe, now Tai Cook. I feel like we're unbeatable at this point. Look, I know the Thunder were the #1 team. We're gonna have to probably see them if we want to get to the finals. With no LeBron this year, I don't fear nobody. Right here, to cap off an amazing series, throw a lob to Zion up in the fast break, punctuating it. And y'all know when Zion hits his signature flex, it's over. The Phoenix crowd, they don't know what they just witnessed. To make matters worse, I threw a lob to myself in front of KD and dunked it. No sportsmanship. We were blowing the Phoenix Suns out, and after an impressive game 3 they put up, we took the life out of them. For the first round, I averaged over 28 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. My boy JV told me to go be great, and I took his word for it. And I remember after this series, JE did something out of character. He told the media that if we win the finals this year, he gonna cut his afro off. I thought bro was wildin' for saying that. But you know, I know JE be joking around a lot, so we ain't take it serious. What we did take serious, that we were in the conference semifinals against the Houston Rockets. And the series picks up with us up 2-0 on the road in Houston for Game 3. And the Houston crowd was electric. The game picks up with Zach LaVine in the corner, tying the ball game at 118 apiece, a little over a minute left. And after Houston hit a shot, they would have a 2-point lead with about a minute and some change on the game. So the ball was in my hands to make a play. And I did what I do best. Attack the basket over Fred VanVleet to tie the ball game at 120 apiece. This game went into OT. With us having a 2-0 lead, and if we could snag this victory, we were in good position to get another sweep. The Rockets, to their credit, weren't going out like that. Hey, listen, they had some dogs on that team that weren't folding. As far as us, we folded like laundry day. Overtime, we were gassed, tired, ain't have nothing in the tank. Not to mention, I was getting clamped up by their second-year player. And Zion tried to keep us in the game as much as possible. With Jabari Smith Jr. on the other side, there was nothing I could do about it. I was taking body blow after body blow. With a 5-point game, I tried to be clutch for my team and failed. And much to the Rockets' credit, they were out their best player arguably and outplaying Sengun. And it didn't matter too much, because their backup center was getting offensive rebounds, clearing out space, and he clutched the game for him. Rockets would win this game by 5 to get the first win of the series. Put the pressure back on us to try to get another win in the next game. For Coach Wells, it was his first playoff loss, back in familiar territory. He was pissed. I knew he was going to do everything in his power to make sure we were ready for Game 4. One thing we weren't ready for, the return of Sengun. See, he was balling all season, but he had missed the last stretch of games, including the last one of the regular season we played against him. So now that he was back, he meant business. He was moving Jared Allen out the way. Before you know it, the Houston Rockets had all the momentum in Game 4 as well, and they were looking prime to tie the series back up. We tried to get it down low to Zion more to regulate terms. And for us, we just tried to keep pace. And I told y'all, every time FVV on me, it was a bucket. And my boy Zoe was balling out this series as well. It didn't matter too much. This man Jalen Green was on a heater, and I was guarding him. That was my man. And my defensive player of the year and off defensive first team claims were looking a little shaky this series. The offense in this series was elite. And I told y'all at the end of the regular season, I already knew this series was going to be competitive. But it was so competitive, we were losing by double digits for the majority of this game. Rockets, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, at one point, they were straight up cooking us and clamping us. This second-year dude, Newton, he had me in a straitjacket. I remember at one point in the second half, he just ripped the ball away from me, got a jump ball. And that signified the game for us. Bullied, punked, and blown out. And I got benched. We ended up losing the game by almost 30 points. Just like that, series is tied at 2 apiece. Coach and OG, while they were pissed, they were looking for anything, any silver lining they could. They may have found it. Tai Cook came off the bench in garbage time, put up some shots, played some solid defense, and looked impressive. So much so that Coach Brown put a note down to make sure he got more minutes next game. But as for myself, I couldn't help but think that I let the team down tonight. I had my worst game in the playoffs by far. Series tied 2-2, I had to face the music. So in the post-game press conference, I took full responsibility, took accountability, and informed the media that don't worry about us. I'ma be alright, we'll be alright. Before Game 5, got the greatest news I've ever received in my life. The NBA announced me, Kiante Blue, as your 2025-2026 Kia Most Valuable Player. Before Game 5, got a chance to address the crowd. Coach Wells introduced me and hyped me up. But I couldn't believe it. This is something I couldn't even imagine. I was just fighting to make an all-star team. The NBA deemed I had a spectacular season this year. Thanks to my offensive improvement and my defensive paralysis, it earned me the award, not to mention the team success. So I thanked everybody from the fans, city, my teammates, coaching staff, even the ball boys. And I informed the fans that our job wasn't done yet. This award was for us, for the city, for the team. It wasn't just about me. And I grabbed it. And I felt an instant shockwave go through my body. This is something I didn't even plan for entirely. Well, you know what they say. Good things happen those who wait. I waited my turn early on in my career. I put in the work. I took all the criticism. And now, I reap what I sow. The moment was so surreal for me looking out to the crowd. And I was emotional. My boy Adam Silver called me over for the first time since draft night. I shook his hand and he told me, "Congratulations, young man." And to top it all off, Coach OG Walter Brown came over and gave me a few words. First thing he told me was that he was proud of me. He saw me put in the work since the offseason and believed me the entire time, and I told him thank you. He also reminded me we got a job to complete tonight. The series is tied at 2-2. We got business. And he was absolutely right. One thing that shook up the whole rotation was Coach decided to bench Zoe, start Tai Cook. And while I couldn't believe it, status quo remained the same. I came out aggressive, and if you thought I was going to fall off after winning the MVP, well, I look like Joel Embiid. Nah, this game 5, I played my heart out. I was so emotional hours before the game, I had nothing left inside of me but to ball out. And I gotta give a major salute. This kid Tai Cook, I can't even call him a kid, he's older than me. He came straight from the G League, came into the playoffs, and it's been huge for us. And early on in the first half, we got off to a great start. And I was feeling it and the crowd was feeling it. I'm really MVP. Insane. That didn't stop me from doing what I do best. Getting out of transition, playing solid defense, and getting on the scoreboard for my team. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The Houston Rockets got the biggest dog in them I've seen. Matter of fact, they took a lead late in the fourth quarter and had us scratching and clawing back to try to get back in it. We were not getting to the loose balls or getting rebounds, and my shot was off. And for a while, it looked like we might lose this game. But thanks to the composure, guys like Zach LaVine, Tai Cook, got us right back in the ball game with a couple threes. And I'm telling y'all, this kid Tai Cook has had an amazing story for us so far. I'm excited. Late in the ball game, you gotta go to where your bread is butter. And for us, that's the big fella down low. And I won the MVP for Zion as well. All the years that he was getting criticized for his injuries, I feel like this was my way of getting it back for the city. We were going to win the ball game, and I fouled out at the end. But don't worry about it. I finished with 27, 9, and 13, not to mention 3 steals to give us a 3-2 lead. Now we got business back in Houston. With Zach LaVine on the top of his game, and Zion in the rhythm, I felt like we had as good a chance as any to come to H-Town, get the dub, and move on to the conference finals. So early on in the game, even though our shots was not going in all the way, confidence remained the same. When you play in a team 7 times, 6 times, 5 times in a row, you know each other's tendencies. So even when shots aren't going, your confidence doesn't really waver. Because you know at the end of the day, either team can come back. The game was competitive all the way throughout. My boy Zoe was getting after it. And I appreciate him. He could have took it personal getting benched, but he didn't. And the team kept up our continuity. As for the Rockets, they never let the foot off the gas pedal either. I'm telling you, you gotta kill a roach with a sledgehammer. You can't just swat at it. And for me, I was struggling a little bit on offense, I admit it. That's why you get your teammates involved early. So that way, you don't gotta worry about them at the end and get yourself going eventually. And even though there was turnovers and sloppy basketball, the game was still in our hands in possession. Matter of fact, the Rockets came out sparking themselves, and in the fourth quarter, it was looking dicey again. And for a stretch, it looked like a game 7 might be forced. Once again, Coach benched me, reminding me what I'm here for. Complete the objective. Do not get caught up in personal battles or have a pity party. Once I got benched, the team took off once again. So by the time I caught back in the game, everybody's confidence was up. It was on me to get mine up too. I don't got a problem with that at all. I found my stroke. I found my teammates. Little did you know, that Rockets lead withered away. And as we entered into the fourth quarter, it was time to put your money where your mouth is. I did exactly that. On defense and on offense. And out in transition, in a 5-point game, I put it for a long 2 intentionally. Buried it over Jalen Green. Stretched the lead out to 7 with a little over 3 minutes to go. At this point, we just need to rely on our defense to bring us on home. You know, that's nothing but butter to me. I was on Jalen Green like white on rice. And no matter what dribble moves he tried to do, he couldn't get a shot over me. We ended up closing the series out in 6 games and beating the Houston Rockets to advance to the conference finals. Just like that, we right back at it. And after the game, Coach Brown came up to me like a man and said, "I'm proud of you once again. You won the award, then let that get to your head. Let's keep at it." I told him, "Of course, I got you." When I got back home, I decided to check out the other series. Much to my surprise, the Grizzlies, who had a 3-2 lead, blew Game 6 on the road and let the Lakers tie it up. With the Lakers underachieving all season, after upsetting the Oklahoma City Thunder in round 1 as an 8th seed from the play-in tournament, they just now beat the Memphis Grizzlies, Game 7. What do you know? Can't make this up. It's like I gotta beat the Lakers if I want to get any success in this league. With LeBron out, apparently Anthony Davis took it upon himself to be the leader of this team. So in practice, we went at it like nothing else. I don't care if they're the 8th seed, 5th seed, 1 seed, 10th seed. Every time we see LA, we gotta turn into the 2023 Nuggets. So our practices were intense, and the attention to detail was sharp. No matter what seed they were, we knew they were about to play their best basketball against us. But something about this year felt special. Game 1 in New Orleans, the city was lit. I mean, look, all season, everybody figured it would be us against the Thunder in the conference finals. But much to everybody's surprise, Thunder got beat by the Lakers in round 1. And while you can celebrate that, the fact that this Lakers team beat the Thunder and the Grizzlies back-to-back got us on high alert. So in Game 1, we knew that we had to come out sparking, taking nothing for granted. And for my guy Zoe, he got put back in the starting lineup. Coaches felt like the move for Tai Cook was just for last series. We had to instill confidence back in Zoe, and we did. And early on, we looked like the Globetrotters. But I have to admit, as much as we were scoring early on and Zoe got it going for us, the Lakers, it was right there with us as well. And I don't understand it. No matter how much we punched them in the mouth, they took it. In the first quarter, they got up by as much as 16 points, leading 32-16 with 2.5 minutes left. Our fans were restless. They were like, not again. And they were right. Not again. For me and the rest of my team, the slow start didn't impact us. We got right back in the ball game with intense defense. Before you knew it, the game was tied at 55 apiece in the second quarter. And after that, that's when we took over. We were really rolling. I got the crowd back involved in the game. My shots was falling, being more aggressive, and our defense was as it usually is, on point. And in transition, I already been told y'all, we're the best team in the NBA. Nobody can stop us. And when I get the ball off the glass like this, I'm going full speed and passing it and kicking it to my shooter, Zach. You could argue that Zach was the biggest pickup for us last season, no doubt about it. And in Game 1, it didn't take that long for us to run away with the game in the fourth quarter. And I was scoring out of my mind, hitting shots y'all wouldn't see me dare take 2 years ago. But this time around, it was personal. In Game 1, I dropped a career high, 42, 11 assists and 8 rebounds, not to mention the 4 steals, and I was hyped. And after winning Game 1, we thought we were going to have a lapse of judgment. We were sadly mistaken. Game 2, we didn't even get off to a slow start at all. Matter of fact, we took care of business early and often. And as for me, I didn't need to drop another 42. I did that Game 1 just to prove a point. Game 2, my teammates were ultra aggressive. From rookies to the vets, everybody was getting active. Jared Allen, he was eating against AD. I respect AD. Listen, though LeBron this time around, he was trying to do his best. But between Zion, Jared Allen, and our 3-point shooters, way too much. I don't know what the Thunder did wrong in round 1. Here in round 3 in the conference finals, everybody was locked and loaded. Now, I fully understand that we went up 3-1 against the Lakers last year. So if you see me smiling and laughing, don't worry about it. It's probably because I'm thinking about what I'm about to do to them in the next game. But tonight, I dropped 25 and 12, 0 turnovers, having one of the best games I've had yet. The job is far from over. We took our talents to Hollywood, see if we can stand on business. And one thing I failed to point out, that D'Angelo Russell had to miss the first 3 games of this series with an injury. So I was going against the Zach Sabre dude, the guy they drafted the year after they drafted me and traded me. And I was cooking him. Lakers fans, they didn't know what to believe. In one breath, they were excited that their team even made it this far a year after winning the championship. But in another, they were watching the Pelicans cooking once again. They were just hoping that the team could pull off another 2-0 comeback and get a victory in Game 3. And it looked like the Lakers were hanging with us, I ain't gonna lie. Anthony Davis was keeping the Lakers up to par, heading to the third quarter and into the fourth. Matter of fact, early on in the fourth quarter, the Lakers held a 3-point lead. Things was looking sweet for them. They was playing good defense and everything. Once I hit this 3-point shot to tie the game in 111, it seemed like things changed. Even when I missed, Jared Allen was there to clean it up. Everybody turned active on defense and on offense. And it's one thing about us, is that if we don't get you in the first 3 quarters, we gonna get you in the fourth. Between our speed, our athleticism, our power, our size, and our stamina, it became a war of attrition. The Lakers just couldn't hold up. So much so that we scored a playoff high 40 points in the fourth quarter alone, and ended up blowing out the LA Lakers. And to put a bow on it, I hit this contested left-handed shot right before I got subbed out the game. As I was at the free throw line, it hit me. 3-0. Game 3, I put up 28 and 11, 4 steals. Walking back to the bench, I remember I gave Zion a look, and he looked at me. We both felt it. One more win. Next game, Game 4, we wanted to close the book. We don't even want to go back to New Orleans with this series. We want to win it right here, right now. So in Game 4, the Lakers, they came out with energy. At the end of the day, they were a playing team that was just lucky to be here. Not to mention they were the defending champs. So they were playing with house money. Speaking of which, D'Angelo Russell came back for Game 4. While he doesn't have the aura of a LeBron James coming back, for the Lakers, it still was a shot in the arm for him. But for me, they also did the same thing. See, when I see D'Angelo Russell on the side of the court, something in me just wants to go at him every single time I see him. Either I'm passing it or going at it myself. And this time I set up an assisted murder. So I threw the lob to Zach LaVine, who posted him. Welcome back, D-Lo. And I took it to him myself as usual, getting buckets over him. You kept up with my story, and you should remember, when I was a member of the Lakers, D-Lo didn't even want me on the team. Never helped me out, never looked at me, and he tried to clown me on social media. Not to mention, he had some crazy antics every time we played against him in a couple years. He would stare at me after shooting, and he tap danced on our sideline. So we ain't forget none of that. In Game 4, we came out with a lead going into the second half. But I gotta admit, the Lakers, they finally fought back. In the fourth quarter, they got the lead once again. And they kept feeding the big fella Anthony Davis. And the worst part about it, I picked up 6 fouls. I fouled out the game. And into the fourth quarter, game was tied at 111 apiece. The only thing I could do was wrap a towel around my neck, watch from the sidelines. Part of me felt like it was slightly rigged for me to get out the game so the Lakers could get a win. Then the other part of me was like, you know what? We got dogs on this team. I ain't worried in the slightest. So my boy Zoe stepped in at point guard. I have to admit, it was looking kind of dark for a stretch. We couldn't buy a bucket. And the Lakers, all of a sudden, couldn't miss a shot. So much so, they had rookies coming in the game and hitting threes. I ain't even seen this kid a day in my life. He came in, buried a shot, got the crowd lit. There I was sitting, restless. The wise man told me, body language is everything. So I made sure I sat up, tried to support my guys while they were on the court. With Zion on the court, I had confidence. With my guy Zoe, I just needed him to calm down and make sound decisions. I know he had it in him. But for a while, the Lakers would take advantage of me not being on the court, offensively and defensively. My rookie Tyrell, he was just too small for AD down in the paint. Before you knew it, the Lakers got out to a 9-point lead. Coach called another timeout. Zach was experiencing some discomfort in his finger. There was fear that he may have broke it. His shot was not going in at all. So he had to make a business decision. Coach decided to put Tai Cook in for Zach, give Zach some rest on that finger and figure it out. And as soon as Tai Cook came in the game, brick. He thought he was going to come in and be a miracle saver. He might have been mistaken. Anthony Davis got the rebound, and before you knew it, the Lakers were up double digits. Thankfully, we had Zion on the court to stop the bleeding. Every time we got the ball down low to Zion, good things happened. He'll kick it out to Zoe for an open 3, After making the layup of his own, he went right back to the post up. Whenever they said the double team, it's law. It's an open man. And the rookie Tyrell Princeton took it to the basket, tied the game at 122. Momentum snatched. Thanks to Jared Allen's block, got the ball right back, and in transition, my boy Tai Cook got right back at it and buried a three to give us a 3-point lead. At the end of the game, plays like this will dictate champions. Jared Allen made an insane block. Tai Cook sprayed it down. I got up and started cheering. I felt it. Game was ours. Late in the game, some mistakes on offense got the Lakers right back in it. Due to some clamps by Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell pulled a three only he would take. In transition, they ended up taking a 3-point lead with about 2.5 minutes left, and they turned it to a shootout. For me, I was just an innocent bystander trying to cheer it along. The game tied at 127, every shot counted. My boy Zoe couldn't figure it out. Thankfully, we had Big Z on the rebounds. And the rookie Tyrell Princeton knew exactly what to do with the basketball, and I was impressed. Gave us a 2-point lead with that assist. And Anthony Davis tried to tie the game up on his own and missed it. And a 2-point lead, the ball in our hands, I didn't know what Zoe was trying to do right here. Honestly, Zion just called for the ball and said, forget it, everybody clear out. I'm too big and too strong for my former teammate Trey Murphy. With 42 seconds left, he gave us a 4-point lead. With D'Angelo Russell missing his shot, felt like it was all but curtains. For the Lakers, they would end up getting the ball right back, coming down, eventually cutting this to a 1-point game thanks to some clutch shots. They would send Tai Cook to the free throw line, but he would miss the first free throw out of 2. Thankfully, after hitting the second one, it was a 2-point ball game, 10 seconds left. The Lakers, they got it down low to AD. After missing it off the back of the backboard, he cleaned his own miss, tied the game to send it to OT. But credit to my teammates. They didn't get down or out. Matter of fact, started the OT off on a run. As far as the Lakers, they were really looking gassed out there. That man D-Lo couldn't buy a bucket. And for us, we make sure we got out in transition, tried to get after them while they were down. And for the rookie Tyrell Princeton, he made his presence felt on the inside. For Zion, no questions asked. Big man attacks the basket. We had a 4-point lead once again late in the game. Before you know it, it's really down to 4 with less than 30 seconds left. The Lakers get an offensive rebound. Kyle Kuzma throws up a crazy 3 and makes it. 4 seconds left, Tai Cook is in the same position he was in at the end of regulation. Both free throws need to be made here. We want to be able to breathe. So with 3.9 seconds left, boy Ty takes his time. First free throw is up. With a chance to go up 3. Takes his time. Lets it go. Just like that, we got a 3-point lead. 3 seconds away from a finals berth. And all I could do was watch. Ball game. There you have it. Finally got over our hump. Joy, emotions, elation. The whole team was ecstatic. In that moment, I was so overcome with emotion, you couldn't even tell I was so excited. I tried to keep a straight face being the league MVP, and dap the other team up and show good sportsmanship. But in that moment, I wanted to do like the other guys were doing and showboat and run around the arena. This Lakers team, they've been the biggest thorn in my side since I got drafted. But this moment was bigger than me. A guy like Tai Cook, first round draft pick, torn ACL, G League. Now he's going to the finals and being a big contributor. Everybody on this team stepped up when needed. So much so that we let the Rook hold the trophy up and celebrate it. New Orleans, this is for you. The last few months have been so much of a whirlwind, barely had time to decompress. I was really named the most valuable player in the NBA. Now my team is headed to the finals. This is everything you dream of. At the same time, it's reality. So that means I had to answer questions from the media about how we plan to stop Trae Young the Atlanta Hawks in a 7-game series. And I told them, my confidence in our defense, the way we're clicking right now, they might be finished for ring sizes in a couple of weeks. But just like anything, you gotta put your money where your mouth is. So after the media outlets were done interviewing me, it was time to ball. The last practice, before we took flight to Atlanta, all the guys were focused in. To be honest, I was the one that had to pick it up. Y'all remember I got fouled out in Game 4. But guys like Tyrell and Tai Cook, not to mention Big Z, were all focused. The big news for the finals was that Zach LaVine did break his finger, which meant Tai Cook was going to be inserted into the starting lineup. Along with him, Zoe, not to mention me, we're going to be filling up the backcourt. And for the Hawks, it was Trae Young and OG Anunoby. My task this series was taking advantage of my size. And look, Trae Young had a spectacular season, averaging over 28, 11 assists, shooting over 50% from the field. I mean, it was a reason he was the MVP last year for sure. But it's a new year. It's a new MVP. And this series is going to dictate who's the best. The starting lineups are set. Me, Zoe, Ty, along with Big Z and Jared Allen in the front court. 7-game series. First to 4 wins. That ring is in sight. And that journey starts in Game 1 here in Atlanta. And even though the Hawks got the tip, it was us that set the tone. And you would think it was me or Zion that got it rolling for us. But to the contrary, Alonzo Kilpatrick set the tone. It's like that dunk sent a shockwave throughout our entire team. Because on defense, we were more locked in than we've ever been. We shut the Atlanta Hawks down to start the game off, and I didn't even have to score the basketball. That was all Zoe. I'm telling you, he scored our first 8 points of the game, and every time we got Trae Young matched up on him, he took full advantage. Baby food. And that was the game plan. Coach reminded us early on, whoever got Trae on him, go at him. And even though I had him on me right here, I felt like we had mismatches all across the court. And like I said, the way Zoe's confidence was rising throughout the entire playoffs, he was peaking. So I just sat there and admired it. From up close, even though it felt like it was from a distance. And the Hawks, they didn't have no answer for our defensive game plan. And when it came to offense, you know what they say. Sometimes defense can be your best offense. Word to Coach Brown. And every time I had Trae Young on me, if I felt like it, I'll go score. But if I didn't, I ain't had no problems dishing the rock. Look, I already proved myself and my worth. I already won the MVP award. We already reached the finals. I don't gotta score 50 points a night just to win games. Clearly. And in Game 1, everybody was rolling. We did a number on Atlanta. So much so, I had the fans thinking, bruh, was that Rocket Series the finals? It's still early though. Game 1, I recorded a triple-double. Yeah, triple-double in the finals, along with 3 steals. And Game 2 came around, I guess the Hawks thought if they switched up the uniform in the court, it would make a difference. So they brought out the true to Atlanta jerseys in the arena. And the fans, shoot, they came out in full support. Partly because, obviously, it's the finals. There was a reason to believe that if they didn't win this game, this might be the last finals game they see. And I was of that mindset myself. Because I came out, set the tone, hitting my first jump shot. I know Zoe took over early last game, but this time around, it was all me. I had guarded Trae Young like my life was on the line. I'm telling you, Atlanta didn't have no answers for our size. No matter who switched off on Trae, he was seeing a big body. Fans didn't know what they were witnessing. But as for me, I was attacking the basket like there was a bounty on it. And Trae Young, he couldn't find the basket. Not even with a GPS. We had defenders all over the court. And in transition, between Zion and me, we were like 2 freight trains. Not to mention J.A. had the advantage down low. And it was looking like another blowout was on the horizon for Atlanta. No food, no street racing, no strip clubs. We came to Atlanta on a mission, a business trip, to get buckets, get the dub, and go home and lock the series up. Shoot, it got so bad, Coach even put in Max Christie, my dog. And I hate to say it, but bro was he was a walking turnover and a walking brick. and he got out the game quick. It didn't matter. Because the way I took off on the Hawks this game needed to be documented. And look, the Hawks ended up cutting it to 7 in the third quarter. They thought it was going to be a good game in the fourth. But I hate to let you know, they were outmatched. What I tell y'all during the Lakers series, teams can cut it close, but when the time the fourth quarter comes around, our size, our D, and our attention to detail will wear you down. In the fourth quarter, we stretched the lead back out to 20. Everybody was clicking on all cylinders. There's another triple-double in the history books. 2 in a row to start the finals off. We headed back to New Orleans up 2-0. The fans, the media, they don't know what to think about Atlanta right now. All season, the people said the East was weaker. And I guess this is proving it. But for us, we got 2 more games, Smoothie King Center, until we can get fitted for that ring I was talking about. And while Trae Young had a much better game on the road than he did at home, Game 3 was ours too. I'm talking about the crowd was lit, the atmosphere was electric, and the ball was still going in the basket, just like it did on the road. And as for me, I was in a rhythm that I ain't never been in my life. Maybe it was the cornrows. I was channeling my inner Brandon Ingram with this haircut. In the first half, it was all us. Not even halfway through the second quarter, we already had a 20-plus point lead. Getting steals, getting blocks, getting out of transition, and getting buckets. What we do best. In the middle of this game, it just felt like this couldn't be reality. But it was. We ended up crushing the Atlanta Hawks for the 3rd straight game. And after winning Game 3, the crowd, myself, and the team were primed and ready to take this thing on home in Game 4. And the fans couldn't wait. And in Game 4, we brought out the classic jerseys with the pinstripes. It was our way of paying homage to the teams before us that couldn't get the job done. From CP3 to AD, now to me. Job is almost done. And in Game 4, we came out just like we did the first 3 games. And really, for this entire playoffs. Focused, running the game plan, and on a mission. From the rookies, to the vets, to the guys like me, a little bit of both. Everybody was on point. Except for Max, I ain't gonna lie, bro. He couldn't get a shot to go this entire finals, but nonetheless, the mission was just about complete. With a double-digit lead in the third quarter, Trae Young tried his hardest to keep the Hawks in the game. But when I'm hitting fadeaway threes like this, it was nothing much they could do. When you got the rook inside having his way, it was all but curtains. In the fourth quarter, with the game out of reach, I wanted to put a bow on it myself. So I decided to attack the basket and finish with 2 hands for the slam. And just like that, you could smell it in the air. The fans were on their feet, and it was my time to come out the game. Blowout. Coach called me out, and I did my curtain call. I balled out of my mind in the finals. I almost averaged a triple-double. And thus, we could celebrate. With the clock hitting 0, game was over. New Orleans Pelicans are your 2026 NBA champions. I'm feeling like none other. I'm telling you guys, I balled out of my mind, physically, and I literally cried out of my mind as well. As far as the guys, we were too lit. Shout out to Coach Wells. He really came in and changed my life. In this organization, they took a chance on him, and he delivered. And for me, well, you guys know I've been fighting adversity since college. From G League to Finals MVP. Man, it's a story I couldn't have written better myself. And after the celebrations in the locker room, popping champagne, enjoying the moment, we celebrated the rest of the night. And the next day we got to address the media one last time. For Coach Wells, he won a championship as a player, and now as a head coach. That puts him in rarefied air, and I thank him tremendously. And as for Jared Allen, well listen, our boy is a man of his word too. He really cut his hair, bro, and I couldn't believe it, neither could the media. And as for me,
are you an NBA champion? You're the MVP of the finals. What does this award mean to you?
Simple question, yet complex. See, my story began way before the season started. From being traded, to the loss of my little bro, to stepping out of bounds and getting ridiculed. This means the world.
How does it feel to silence all the haters?
Trick question. So if it's one thing I've learned in this life, the haters never go away. Now that the dust has settled, I got a chance to reflect. I really won MVP, Finals MVP, and the NBA championship, all in my third year. And throughout all my trials and tribulations, if there's one thing I can say that remained consistent, was the way I treated the game. Give it my all, put the team first, and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, I guess. But I work hard so we can win. You can score 20, 30, whatever, but if that doesn't help your team win, what's the point, Vinny?
Build me up, don't break me down. Build me up.
The New Orleans Pelicans are your 2026 NBA champions, and Kiante Blue, let me put some respect on his name. Kiante Blue is your Finals MVP. As a real one, I admit I was wrong. They ran it back, and Kiante really stepped it up and had a great season. Shoot, I'll even give it to y'all. He's a fringe top 3 player right now. The best? Nah, not yet. Jokic, Giannis, Luka, shoot, even Wemby clear on board for me. But he's a champion now. So what's next? If he wants his name amongst the all-time great, he's gonna have to dominate the game for multiple seasons. If he really wants to leave a legacy, this should only be the beginning.